Zor here from ZorGameGeek.com. Orcs, guns, and magic. This is Shadowrun, the Sixth World. This rule set, this game system, has been around since the late 1980s. We're now on to the 6th edition of Shadowrun role-playing game. If you don't know what Shadowrun is, it is this wonderful amalgamation of cyberpunk and magic. Storyline goes that sometime in the near future, actually when it was written, we're now in the future that it tells the story of, but I don't see any orcs running around out here. But sometime in the near future, magic reawakens in the world. And humans, when they reach puberty, some of them will metamorphosis into these fantasy races. Dwarves, elves, orcs, trolls, and other more rare species. And then dragons show up. And what you have then is this mixture where you have magicians with submachine guns. You have hackers and matrix runners. Matrix is the Shadowrun's internet, where they are hacking and getting information and cutting into security cameras and turning off alarms or tripping alarms someplace else to draw the security guards away. And you play as Shadowrunners. Shadowrunners are people who live on the edges of society. They live in the shadows. They are deniable assets. They are mercenaries. And this world, this future, is dominated by corporations. I know, shocking, right? Corporations take over. National governments are there, but they're really irrelevant to society. I hope that's not the case. But the corporations are given sovereignty. They have total control over their property. And what really matters is that your corporation goes up the rankings, because the top 10 get to set the rules. They're in charge of the corporate court over all the corporations. So there's all of this work in the shadows. When you want what Renraku is developing, you can do a couple of things. You can hire some Shadowrunners to infiltrate their arcology and steal the prototype. Or, better yet, you hire them to infiltrate the arcology and destroy the prototype, while another team of Shadowrunners is exfiltrating the engineers and scientists who developed that prototype weapon in the first place. And so these Shadowrunners play this integral role in the world of these corporations. They are the grease that makes things happen. But it's also a dark world. It's a gritty world. The game rules include rules for mental illness, addiction. Because, again, you're living on the shadows. You're living on the edges of society. But what type of players, characters can there be in this world? Well, there are the street samurai. These are the warriors. They are, they have all of these body modifications, subdural plating, wired reflexes as their neural system is rewired with the best modern medicine can buy. You have the matrix hackers. With data ports right into their brains, where they can connect wirelessly or wired to any internet-enabled device, and they literally can go full VR, where they lose their sense of self and go into the matrix. You have the riggers, who control drones and cars and other machines, where, again, through a direct cerebral interface, they can inhabit and become these machines. And so they're not driving with joysticks necessarily, although that's an option. They're driving them with their brains. There's magic users of all shapes and types. There's shamans who have totem spirits that they have an allegiance to, get their powers from. There's the more science wizards who use precise formulas. You think of the D&D wizards in that respect. You have the more monkish types whose magic powers go within and empower their hands and their fists and their speed. And they are magic monks. This is the world of Shadowrun, where you get to mix together these elements of living on the edge, fighting against corporations, fighting other corporations, always trying to make your next dollar, plus all of the technology, all of the cyberpunk that you want, plus all the magic that you want. If you want to learn more about Shadowrun, I recommend that you go to zorgamegeek.com/Shadowrun. Again, zorgamegeek.com/Shadowrun. Keep gaming.